Hello everyone and welcome back to Bible Corner Reviews. Today I'm reviewing a fun Bible. This is my first Lockman edition, and this is the 2020 New American Standard Bible and the large print compact. Lockman did send me 3 different Bibles to review, so this is at one time my first and one of my first Lockman Bibles. So let's get into it. This is the sleeve. It's not really a cover. It's more of a sleeve that it comes with. It does have plastic wrap over the entire thing when you open it, but this is all that is protecting the Bible. The front has basic information, large print compact, New American Standard 2020. Top has about the same information, and the bottom has a neat little feature here, which has sort of a key. It's got single column text, paragraph format, book introductions, 2020 text, black letter, sort of just a little code that you can quickly reference what the Bible contains. I like that. Here's the back. A little bit of information about the 2020 large print compact. A couple features. I'll just read those quickly. 9-point line match, single column, paragraph format, black letter, book introductions, 2020 text. A bit redundant because you have 2020 everywhere on this, but they added that again. Here's your sampling of the text, and this one is printed in China. So here's your Bible. This one is the blue Leathertex. First impressions were that it's a little bit glossy, and I'm not a fan of that as much, but it does have a distinct grain pattern, horizontal lines, a little bit of dark blue, light blue going on here. You can kind of see that if I tilt it right there. You can see that it is kind of a cool texture. No perimeter stitching going all the way around. Spine has 5 lined hub indicators, not really hubs, sort of an Allen style. You have, not even that, it's more of just minimalist style, in my own words. Holy Bible, New American Standard Bible, 2020, large print, NASB, Lockman Foundation. A lot of information on the spine. However, I think part of the appeal to this is it doesn't look busy, but that's because it's blind stamped. So if you're wanting to put a lot of information on a Bible, just blind stamp it. Spine, or the back has ISBN, and then it's plain. You have 2 1/4-inch ribbons, black, blue, just single satin, nothing special, but suitable for this size and price point of a Bible. The pages do have silver gilding. No art gilding. You'll see that it is blue. That's because the paper has a blue tint, and we'll get to that in a moment. Opening this up, here's your interior, blue. Again, it's very much a blue Bible. They did blue with everything. You have synthetic paper. You have reinforcement tape. Corners are nothing special, but like an attempt at pleating. I don't know. Very well done. Then you have your end sheet. 2, if I can get them, glossy pages, and then your Bible. You have Bible paper. You have NASB, New American Standard Bible, again, a bit redundant, but you have all the information there. Here's your publication page, large print compact, Bible, Lockman Foundation, 2020, printed in China. Now, I believe the premium edition of this is printed in Korea, but this one is China. And you have your foreword. If you're not familiar with the 2020, definitely go and read this because this will explain some of their philosophy behind their updates. A little bit more with the gender accuracy, some things that people are very concerned about with this translation. I'm not going to get much into the actual translation itself in this video. However, I will say I am much more sympathetic to the 2020 than I initially was. So it is growing on me. List of abbreviations. And then books of the Bible. This is one thing that I wish they would have done on a separate page. It's kind of squished in behind your last page of your foreword, and it makes it kind of awkward to find. It would be nice if it was on its own page. You have Old Testament, and here is your layout. Single column, as the slipcase indicates. 9-point. It does seem a little bit smaller than 9-point to me, but it's around there and it's very readable, so I'm not complaining too much. You have bold chapter numbers, large chapter numbers. Your subject headings are within the text as well, so interspersed throughout. verse numbers are quite bold, making it very easy to see and locate. You have paragraph sections with an indent and a start with a new verse. Your textual footnotes at the bottom are separated by a bold line from the text. This is not the full set of textual footnotes, so keep that in mind. You'll remember it said book introductions. Those are at the back of the Bible, not with each book, which I would prefer. I like having them all in one place. So get into a more central location so you can see how this lays open. The overall layout of this Bible was very well designed. For being so small, they did a very great job keeping it minimal, but also doing the best they could with what they had. So the 9-point text, very readable. It is smaller. People are going to complain that large print is not 9-point, but for a compact Bible, this is still very impressive. Your gutter has a lot of room, which pushes that text out to the center of the page. Another very well designed feature. And they have about 1/4 inch of margin as well. So even though this is definitely not a note-taking Bible or anything of the sort, just the overall layout is conducive for a good experience in reading, which is basically what this is designed for, having the single column. I am very much a fan of single column. I just love to sit and read the Bible. So this is definitely a very great option. Plus it's small enough that you can carry with you wherever you go. Something I will point out here, as with most single column paragraph formatted Bibles, poetry will be in verse by verse setting. So in order to keep up with the paragraph, they have to either do bolded verse numbers, or in this case, pilcrows, which is a little bit older style, but it is still very common in many Bible translations. They opted for that, and that's kind of the one critique I have, is they put the pilcrows very close to the verse numbers. So when you have the Bible away from your face, they kind of blend together. So you can see here, you can see where the paragraphs start, but they're a little bit muddled, and it kind of just looks like a blob of ink on the page. So that's the only critique I'd have of that design. If they had just separated those a little bit, either put the pilcrow in between, kind of halfway in between the verse and the verse number, or closer to the verse. Either way would have been a little bit easier to read. You can see that blue tint to the page. It's kind of hard to tell in this lighting, but it's very noticeable. And again, that would be another critique. I think the premium editions did not have that problem, but it is something that this one definitely has. It's not so much an issue for me, but it could get annoying for some people, and I know a lot of people don't like that. Flipping to the New Testament, words of Christ are in black. Another thing that I am particularly a fan of. I don't mind red letter, and I have many red letter Bibles, but I do prefer black letter. The Old Testament quotations in the New Testament are lowercase capital letters, similar to your traditional 95 New American Standard. Supplied words throughout the entire Bible are italicized, again, similar to what you'll be familiar with in your older New American Standard editions. Now, this one, since it does not have the full textual footnotes, there are no references in the Old Testament to the citations for, or New Testament for the Old Testament citations. So you're not going to get that in there. It's not a reference Bible, it's just a reader's Bible with verses. Getting to the end of the Bible, you have your book introductions. Like I said before, I'm not a huge proponent of having them in the back. If you're going to have them, you might as well put them with the books, because it doesn't really add much clutter. It's not that much to add. So I would prefer them with the books, but I do appreciate them being in the Bible itself. If you're not going to have anything, at least have some context for the books of the Bible. Context is important. So that's a nice thing to include if you're not going to include anything else. At the end of that, you have 2 glossy end sheets, and then your final page, and then the end of the Bible. I think I forgot to mention the paper is around a 33 GSM. It's very easy to turn. It's the opacity. Some could complain that it's a little bit see-through, but with the line matching, really not an issue. It's picking it up a little bit more on the camera than you're seeing in actual life, so not bad at all. I just had two quick comparisons. They're not really equals because they are premium Bibles, but they will at least give you an idea for the size range of this. First one is the Skylar Personal Size Quintel. It's becoming more common, but it's still a little bit new for some people. But I have reviewed this in some ways in the past, and I compare it a lot to my Bible, so I'll continue to do so. Size, footprint is very similar. Thickness of the Quintel is a little bit greater, but as far as the size itself, very similar. Text is your biggest difference. The personal size is double column. The Lockman is single, but size, very similar. This is an 8 point something and supposedly 9, so very similar. Second one is the ESV Personal Size Heirloom Bible. Again, this one is a premium edition, and I think this one has since been eclipsed by the Heritage, but it's a good comparison because it highlights a feature that I would like to point out. And you can see here, thickness is the major difference, size-wise, basically the same. But this one's closer in comparison because it is a single column. So this highlights two things that I would like to point out. One is the gutter. As I said before, this one has a nice opening. You can see how this one kind of caves in, and because it's thicker, not having as much gutter keeps that page or the text sliding into the gutter, not out in the center of the page. They evened out gutter and margin, whereas in this one, they just made the margin smaller and the gutter wider. Another thing is the text spacing. Obviously, you can tell the ESV is a little bit more easy to read. It's a little bit more open, a little bit more roomy, but the New American Standard is much more tight-knit and a little bit more condensed. That is something that some people are going to have a problem with, this one being so what they'd call cluttered. I don't think that. It looks really nice with the work or the room that they had to work with. They did a great job organizing that, and I'm glad that they went with a smaller spacing and kept the larger gutter. That was just, I think, a better choice than having the text run into the gutter and having more room. So that's just a quick comparison, kind of what some other things out there look like. So there you have it. It's the large print compact Bible from the Lockman Foundation in the New American Standard 2020 edition. If you like single column Bibles, if you like compact Bibles, definitely check this one out. I am partial to single column and I really enjoy small Bibles, so I really have nothing to complain about this edition. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And thank you for watching.